Jessica, it's so nice to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's nice being here.
So you're one of the top tennis players in the world, but you also have a reputation as a bit of a late bloomer. So
Yeah.
4 years ago, when you were ranked outside the top 100, did you ever think you'd be where you are today?
Probably not, to be honest. I mean, I always thought that I would make it happen, but at the same time, putting in all the work and then looking back 4 years later about where my mindset was, I don't know if I really truly believed it. So, yeah, I did, but I didn't. I don't know. It's just been a very long journey, I guess.
When did that start to change for you? Did you have a moment where you thought, oh yeah, I can do this?
Yeah, I would say when I kind of had my breakthrough at Australian Open, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, going deep in a Grand Slam was something I'd never done. And then it seems like since then I've been able to go deep in every tournament basically that I played. And I think that moment was definitely a breakthrough for me to realize that I could play at the top level.
So not that long ago, you were playing at these small tournaments on the ITF circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're one of the top seeds at the world's biggest tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
How is life different for you, as a low-ranked player versus one of the top stars on tour?
Yeah, I mean, I have way more commitments, a lot more responsibilities, especially at bigger events, especially tournaments, in the U.S. where there's a lot more attention on American players. The Grand Slams now that I'm, a top 5 seed, and I think I've gotten used to that over maybe the past couple years, but it's been a hard act to kind of balance, all the responsibilities that I have from before when it was just you showed up and practiced. Now there's a lot more commitments, a lot more time, a lot more energy spent, but I think I just look at it as, part of my career and my job to help grow the game as well.
What changed about your game to help get you to this point? Was it more physical or mental, that development?
I would say both. They probably went hand in hand. Like physically, I got so much stronger, so much fitter, a lot healthier. And then I think mentally that kind of helped my mental game, knowing that I could, last longer out there. I could play long matches. I could play matches back to back and not have to worry about being tired or getting hurt or something like that. So to me, it went hand in hand. I would say physically probably first. Once I felt better, then the mental game kind of followed along with that.
For a long time, you had this goal to get into the top 100, and then it was the top 50 and the top 30 and the top 10. Is doing that kind of incremental goal setting difficult?
I think those were all small goals, but also big goals. I liked having goals to help make me feel like I was making progress. But then beyond that, there's a lot smaller goals, just like day-to-day goals, which I think helped me accomplish the bigger goals. And to me, it was always fun. It was always just like kind of a mental game, try to improve small little things and then reach the bigger goals like top 100, top 50. And they slowly just kind of came along, and I don't think I used it as a way to put pressure on myself. It was more just like a mind game that me and my coach would play. Like, oh gosh, if I just get this many points, I'll be top 20. Small stuff like that. It wasn't the focus, but it was more of just like a fun reward.
You had a lot of success and a lot of consistent success, but I know one goal that's still out there for you is having that breakthrough at a major. Mm-hmm. Is that something that weighs on you, or are you able to sort of keep your focus on the positives? I
mean, I've had already a lot more success at slams than I thought I would. I mean, before I was just trying to win one round at a slam, and now it's the goal is getting beyond to semis, finals, or winning a slam. And I came really close at Wimbledon this year, and eventually lost in the quarters to the eventual champion. So I know that I'm right there. And I think with the women's game, there's so much depth that anybody can kind of break through at any second. So that also gives me confidence, that it could happen any week. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it weighs on me. It's just something that, is yet to be accomplished, and hopefully I can get there.
So earlier in your career, you dealt with a couple of serious injuries that sidelined you for pretty long stretches. What kept you going through what must have been difficult rehabs there?
There was definitely moments where I didn't know how I was going to get through some of the rehab. It can be very monotonous and boring and very hard. But I think it was just like my love for the game would always kind of come through, and I would have these tough weeks in rehab, and I would seem to always be able to get through them or bounce back. And I think I just wanted to get healthy and give myself a chance to really prove, what I could do, and not for other people, but I think more just for myself. And I, knew I was right there. I practice with, you practice with a lot of the same girls, and you see them watching them on TV having great results, and you're sitting there injured and hurt. And I think that always kind of motivated me as well to give myself a chance to come back and be stronger and see what I could do. So I think that was a big motivation. And then just the passion, that I love to play the sport always kept me going. And I think that's important. It gets tough if you don't love the sport. So I think that's what always kind of got me coming back.
What do you love about tennis?
I don't know. It's just, I love the individuality of it. I love that it's all on you, and I take a lot of pride in knowing that not a lot of sports are like that. So to me, it's really fun to be able to say, I'm an individual athlete. No, I can't really talk to my coach. I can't really talk strategy. In really tough moments, it's only you. And I think that's what makes tennis so unique and special. So I've always just, I think, taken pride in being able to be that specific kind of athlete. And I think that's what I've just loved most about it. I mean, it sucks when you lose because it's all on you, but when you win, you're the one that got yourself through a really tough moment or a tough match, and that to me is like the best feeling.
You have a dry sense of humor. You're a little bit understated. You're not one of these, sometimes. You're not one of these players though who's, screaming on the court or smashing a racket, and I think sometimes people see that and they maybe assume that you aren't intense, but clearly, it takes a determination to get to where you are. So how would you describe your personality?
I'm very laid back, not a lot bothers me. I don't get super stressed out, not super anxious. I mean, I definitely still have those feelings, of course, like anybody else, but I think I don't know, I always just find a way to get through it, and I think that's what people have kind of started to see, but that wasn't always easy for me at the beginning of my career when I was younger. Like people will comment a lot on my attitude that it doesn't look like I want to be there and it doesn't look like this. So it was hard for me to find like my identity on the court. But I think as I, matured, got healthier, mentally got a lot tougher. Now people, tell me that they really appreciate my calm demeanor on the court, which I think is the biggest accomplishment considering what people used to say about my attitude on the court. So it's really funny. But yeah, I'm just a very calm type of person. I don't really get super stressed out very easily.
So over the years, I think pundits would sometimes maybe say like, oh, she's hit her ceiling, and then you would smash right through that. So when you hear that kind of discourse, is that motivating or is that frustrating?
Definitely, maybe a little bit of both, but I think more motivating than anything. It's easy for everyone to kind of just sit there and make comments, but I think when you're the one putting in the work, you definitely use it as motivation all the time to try and get better, but also you can't always take what everyone says into account. I think if you start thinking about what everyone else is saying about you, it can kind of have a negative effect. So I try my best to just use it as motivation to keep getting better. And, in my mind, if I'm getting better, then maybe those opinions will change. But I think I've proved that I've, improved a lot over the last few years. And I think broken most of the ceilings that people have thought about me. So I think it's nice looking back and knowing I proved them wrong. But at the same time, yeah, you can't always, take everyone's opinion and try and, change it. Sometimes it's just how it is. But hopefully I can keep, breaking more of those opinions.
Do you feel like you have another level to get to?
Definitely, I think so. I think I've proved that the last few years, every single year, it seems to be getting better. And I know there's always going to be challenges, or maybe that's not the case. But, in tennis, I think you can always improve. And I think I've already done that the last few years, so why not keep improving the next few years? And I think I can definitely get there.
You're coming into your own at this interesting time with Serena Williams retired and a bunch of young American players on the rise. Do you feel there's an opportunity there for you?
Definitely. I think there's a lot of opportunity for everyone, really. I mean, we saw Coco Gauff take advantage of that at the US Open, really get hot this summer and prove that, she could be a slam champion. So I think that definitely motivates me as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity right now for a lot of girls. So me being one of them. So hopefully I can, take advantage of that. But it's interesting with Serena being out, I guess it's different. It feels more open. Even when she wasn't playing full time, it was still like she was always the favorite. And now it seems like a different time, even though we've already seen who the top players are. But it's an opportunity for everyone. So I think, why not me?
So I know there must be a lot of pressure stepping into Serena's shoes as one of the top Americans, but that's got to be really validating too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone can fill Serena's shoes. Having other top Americans there definitely helps because I couldn't imagine being the only American. Someone like Coco at least has a lot of pressure on her as far as being, I think, regarded as the next Serena or Venus. So I don't really see that as being a role I have to fill, but it's pretty cool when you get to see records. Like I can say, I've won this many hardcourt matches, hasn't been done since Serena, or having little stats like that is really cool. And being able to do it with Coco as well, who we're 10 years apart in age difference. And, we see stats like that. Well, two Americans haven't been in the semis or the both singles and doubles since Serena and Venus. Like that's really, really cool and something I don't think I ever expected to see, but it's been nice to see some statistics mixed in with my name. I don't think I'll ever, definitely not going to break the Grand Slam record, but it's pretty cool to be mentioned in that, especially in American tennis.
You mentioned Coco, who's also your doubles partner. What's your relationship with her, being on a team? Do you have to be in the same singles draws as her? Is there any friendly rivalry? What's that relationship like?
I mean, I think it's cool that I was like the only one to beat her this summer before she won the US Open. But no, we're very friendly about it. I mean, I think we've learned a lot from each other from playing doubles. And we have a lot of fun playing doubles, even if we have to play singles. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. We're, I think, used to it. And I think most girls are used to sometimes having to play, singles against your doubles partner. And I think it's more just been a really fun journey that both of us have been on at different points of our career, totally different learning curves. She's done all this so young, and me being a late bloomer, it's very different, but I think we've gotten to learn from each other at the same time. And it's been really cool to see what she's done. And we have a good relationship on and off the court. I think we're obviously very competitive, but at the same time, I think learn a lot from each other, which is nice.
You call out that age difference. You're under 30 and she's a full 10 years younger than you.
It's crazy.
Is there any generational friction between you? Do you?
Well, I mean, she definitely makes me feel like she's definitely Gen Z. Like I didn't really notice it, and then as we started hanging out more, or just being together more, on tour, I'm like, okay, there's definitely a generational gap here. No friction, but it's funny, I don't know, she makes fun of me because I don't know about any of the TikTok trends and stuff like that. But it's more just, poking fun at each other.
Do you take any special pride in being part of this all-American doubles team with Coco?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really cool. Hopefully we can play Olympics next year, and I know that's a goal that she really wanted to try and get a medal there, and I think for me too. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's bringing a lot more fans to doubles. I think the fans really enjoy watching us, and even at the US Open this year, I mean, we wouldn't play on a major stadium, but or on Arthur Ashe per se, but we've played in a lot of the other stadiums, and it's packed for people to come watch us play. And to watch us play singles and doubles, I think that's great for American tennis. And it's been, really cool to see everyone so interested in not just our singles, but us as a team.
You had this bit of an unusual upbringing. Your parents owned the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres. And I know over the years, people have maybe questioned whether someone with that kind of background can have, the fire to really succeed as a pro tennis player. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that everyone who knows sports or is an athlete or was highly competitive or made it very far, I think knows that you're not really going to get there unless you, work hard and, are talented and really are driven to get there. It's really difficult. So to me, I think people say that, but I think everyone that knows kind of knows it's not going to happen unless someone's really a hard worker and driven. So I don't really worry too much about it. I think most people get that. Maybe some people that, I don't know, just don't want to like me for whatever reason, maybe will always say that, but I can't really change their mind. But I've worked really hard, and I definitely wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for that.
Do you have any thoughts yet on going into the family business after you retire from tennis?
I would love to stay in sports, but we'll see. I feel like it's still a little ways away, but I do love sports so much, and I would love to stay in that sector. And at some point throughout my career after tennis, I think it would be really awesome. And I think I just have such a connection and very grateful for being able to play at such a high level. So I would hope that would, some of that experience would take me into the next phase of my career, but we'll see. But I would love to stay in sports.
So you grew up in Buffalo, which is not exactly a tennis hotspot. So how did you get into tennis? Why tennis?
So my older sister played. My older half sister, Laura, played collegiately at the University of Pittsburgh. And so when I was younger, I just started, taking lessons after school, and I guess I was pretty good for how young I was, and just kind of kept taking lessons and saw some different coaches. And I think my parents just saw that I was talented and wanted to see if, where it could go. And then as I got older, it was a goal to be professional, be number one in the world, be all those things. And it kind of just, started from there. But I would say my older half sister played, and that's kind of how I got into it.
So off the court, you have a skincare business, Ready 24, that you founded a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Was starting a business something that had always been on your mind?
Not really. I think it became one when I got hurt and I was injured for a few of those years, probably out for about almost 3 years, probably in total. And I guess some opportunities came to me and I started thinking about, well, what if I'm not going to play tennis? I need to go back to school. I need to do all these things. And, you start thinking about life without sports, or tennis in my case. And that's when it kind of became something I wanted to do and try. And the opportunity came for, with a relationship with someone that I knew from Buffalo, New York, and they helped me, guide me through the process, really. So I've learned a lot from it, and it's been a while since I started it, but I've learned so much. So hopefully, I can keep growing that.
How is the company growing?
It's hard. Well, I've learned it's hard trying to do both, especially when I'm kind of just the one doing everything. But as I've kind of taken a step back from it the last few years, because just playing and again, reaching a new ranking and having to come into all these new responsibilities and these commitments has been challenging. But this year, actually, pre-US Open, we relaunched some new products. So hopefully the next couple years, I really, really want to push, especially on social, and especially now that people know me more, and they also bring up the fact, oh, don't you have a skincare line? And they get really interested. So I think seeing that shift in, myself as a brand has also changed my perspective on that. And hopefully, the next few years I can keep pushing it, because it is something I really enjoy and I want to be successful. So hopefully we'll get there.
Do you think of yourself as a businesswoman? Has that become part of your identity?
I think it has for other people. I don't really see myself as a businesswoman, but at the same time, I think I'm competitive and I want things to be successful, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I think I see those things more in me, but I guess that could lead to a businesswoman if someone would, notice that. And I think, people usually tell me that, but to me, I'm just competitive and want it to be successful. That's what I think of.
Also on the business side of the game, you have a few traditional endorsements as well. Is that something you enjoy, working with companies like that? Yeah,
of course. I think it's important, to have sponsors and people that enjoy working with, and you enjoy working with them. And I, take a lot of pride in really being a great ambassador for whoever it is that I'm helping or whoever sponsors me, and treating them well, and being professional about it. I think it's really important, and nowadays it's so important for an athlete, especially to have a brand and be more than just the sport. And I think people really, find that interesting. And I think athletes are becoming more than, one-dimensional, becoming many different things and showing their interests on and off the field. And I think it's great, because not everyone is into sports. Everyone's into different things. And it's become something that I take a lot of pride in, and I hope I can be a great ambassador for, all the sponsors that I have.
You've kind of touched on, as an athlete, you have to, cultivate your own brand. What's that like for you?
I think it's hard finding, I think you don't want to just take on anything, right? You want to find things that I think are genuine and you're passionate about. And I think that's the difference, where some people do, some people don't. But at least what I find different is finding athletes that truly believe in something. And I think when you can fit that into your brand and really cultivate that, it's, I think, much more special than just kind of taking everything that's thrown your way. So to me, it's important to have a really big, deep passion about what it is. And I think when you communicate that to your fans and to everyone else, it comes off so much more genuine, and I think much more authentic, which I appreciate, especially nowadays in the world of social media with all the influencers. I know stuff can feel kind of fake, so I think it's special when you can do that.
You have a few sponsors. Is that, an area that you want to expand, or do you like having kind of a slim portfolio that you can engage with?
I would always love to expand, but again, expand with things that I actually am genuinely passionate about. I don't want to just take things just because. So hopefully, I would love to expand, as long as I think it's the right relationship fit too. I think you have to get along with the people and the idea of what they're doing, and to see how it fits you.
I know you've spoken in the past that people maybe don't know that you're half Korean, but I also know that you have started working with the Asian American Pacific Islander Tennis
Yes,
Association.
I have, yeah.
What work have you been doing with them, and why has that been so important?
Yeah, so they asked me to be on the board like, I don't know, it was almost a few years ago now. And so this year at the US Open, we really pushed to have an initiative there as far as an Asian American Pacific Islander Day that they did. I think during the second week, there was panels and talks, and they did a couple traditional like Asian American ceremonies for different types of things. And I unfortunately was playing, so I couldn't really be a part of it. I was thinking about being part of something the second week, but ended up making second week and was busy playing, so I couldn't do anything.
Pretty good reason.
Yeah, but I guess they had a great turnout, and it was something really, really special, and especially in New York when there's a really, really big Asian American population, and trying to get it out there to families and have more kids play tennis and stuff like that. And I think, it was very successful this year. So that was the first thing, big thing kind of that they've done, but that was at the US Open. So that was really cool. And I guess it had a great turnout and a really great response. So yeah, that was fun. I wish I could have, done more, but it was nice. And it was cool.
On another issue, I think a lot of casual tennis fans maybe don't realize that outside of the 4 majors, there's still a gender pay gap in tennis. And I know it can be tough to get women's matches televised in prime time. I know that's something that you've spoken about in the past. So how do you feel the effort is going to change that? And, what are your sort of thoughts on the tennis landscape right now?
Yeah, it's a crazy time. Women's tennis is a huge sport I think we're the highest paid female athletes, and it's a huge global sport, but at the same time, the pay gap is still very big, and we always talk about how it's equal at slams, but those are 4 tournaments a year. It's not equal at a lot of the other tournaments. Our season is very long, 10, 11 months practically, and yeah, here's a huge difference that we're still working towards. And I think we need to do better at marketing our game, which hopefully I think the WTA just started a new partnership with a private equity company that's going to come in and kind of take the commercial side and hopefully really revamp the marketing. And I think getting more stories out there on all the incredible players that we have, not just obviously in the US, but in the world. And that's what's so different, is it's such an international sport, and there's so many different stories, and we reach so many people, but are we really telling those stories, the best way we can to the fans? And I think that's something that can really grow and change, and hopefully it will next year, and we'll start getting better TV deals and all of that. But yeah, we're trying to start, the path at least to equal prize money with some circuit structure changes that are starting next year. And hopefully we see that pay off in the next few years where we get more of these tournaments at equal prize money.
We can make this the last question, so I'll make it a tough one.
Okay.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh. I think as I've gotten older, I would love to just know that I helped the game. I think helped kids especially. I love tennis. I love, how much stronger and tougher it's made me. And I think it's created so mmany opportunities. Even just sitting here today, the opportunities that it's created for me, it's insane. So I would just love for my legacy to, get to have kids understand that and get them to play tennis and give them a chance to have those opportunities. And then on top of that, change the game and hopefully leave a mark, not just results wise, but, whether it's helping us get to equal pay or helping more kids get rackets in their hands. I think any of those things would be amazing. And yeah, I guess you realize that it's bigger than yourself. You want to leave your mark on the game. And I think I learned that reading a lot of Kobe Bryant books. So he always said to keep giving back to the sport, because if you're not, then it's kind of like, what are you doing? So I think I definitely felt that, and I think the same way. I want to, give back to the sport as much as I can.
Well, it's been great having you with us, Jessica, and
Thank you.
want to wish you the best of luck the rest of this season and beyond.
Thank you.